Hey guys, and welcome to Sounds Like NYC, the only podcast dedicated to spotlighting New York City talent. On this episode, we have a New York City-based singer, songwriter, producer, multi instrumentalist, and a bunch of other things. You can find him on Instagram at Feyer Music, Feyer Music. Please welcome Feyer.
Hey, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah,
Thank you for putting, how to pronounce that name because I would have messed it up.
I
So
don't know. I don't see how somebody would like mess that up though.
A lot of people say
Feyer,
fire, actually.
Fire.
Fire? No.
See the
Yeah,
EYE in the middle, and they're like, oh, I wish it was fire. That would be amazing, but
yeah.
it's not. It's Fair. It's an
No.
American Hungarian name.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Hungarian.
Yeah.
Nice.
My dad's from
Yeah.
Hungary originally.
That's why
Wow.
you got a beard.
I've
That's why you have a bit.
had a since
Yeah.
1975, and I've had one since 2013.
Nice. No, because like American English is like, just like English in general is such a pain in the ass language. Like, I don't I respect
It's
anybody
my
who
second
chooses to learn
language,
it.
so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why people have an issue with it.
Well,
If I
good
could
for
learn
you.
two at a young age,
Yeah, but you
you
grew
can't
up
learn
with
one.
both. hey, hey, I speak two languages too. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're right. You can speak
What are
Japanese.
the two you speak?
English and Japanese.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Can you speak any more languages besides English or
Well, I took lessons in Spanish
as
throughout
we all did? Yeah.
most of it. When I
yeah.
was really little and I was in Hebrew school, I started learning a bit of Hebrew, but I forgot that too.
Nice. Oh, are your
Ex-
parents like kind of like religiously Jewish?
No, we're like, I was raised Reform Jewish.
Oh,
I'm not
okay, cool.
religious, but it's like super, super lax kind of.
Lax
Right.
Yeah,
So I
Judaism.
to Hebrew school growing up, and I learned some Hebrew. I know like shalom and stuff like that, but
Nice.
What's the difference between Hebrew and Yiddish?
Yiddish, interestingly enough, is a Europeanized kind of language where
Hmm.
it takes characteristics of Hebrew and it takes the Hebrew alphabet, but it has its own vocabulary, I believe, and linguistically, it's very similar to like I think a mix of German and Russian and a couple of other things.
Oh, interesting.
Gotcha.
I know quite a bit of Yiddish slang. Like, if someone says like, "I need a schmear on my bagel," that's Yiddish. It's such a schlep to get.
Sounds
That's also
dirty.
Yeah. No, but I
Sounds
feel like
nasty. Like a
like this
schmear?
plays into no, but like this plays into kind of like New York accent and stuff like that. Cause I've like grown up hearing those type of slang and you just think they're just like New York or like kind of like New
So
Yorkish
is New York
slang, but
more
like
Hebrew or Yiddish?
slang wise, like in terms of like
Yeah.
some slang. No, because like I've heard those things being said before, and I just assume yeah, just like straight up kind of just like a New Yorkish accent, like kind of like a Eastern European, New York type of slang. But I didn't
I
know
mean,
that it had like oranges within like actual Yiddish and
linguistics
stuff
is
like that.
fun, but tell us a little bit about like
Yeah,
yourself.
let's talk about music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
linguistics podcast. I'm very fascinated by accents, actually. In fact,
yeah.
the New York City accent, like the traditional one, you don't hear it as much among people of our generation
No,
because
definitely not.
we're so much more connected with the rest of the world.
Hmm.
But I guess, yeah, about me. What you want to know? Where I got started, what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
How should
Okay. No. Okay.
From
First, let's talk about why specifically. Like, how did you gravitate towards the keytar being your main, instrument that you like interface with,
I didn't
like at
know they
least on
still
social
sold them.
media.
I thought they just stopped selling them.
Yeah, you can still find them online.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Yeah, they still make them new. Actually,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
the
Yeah.
model I use is a Roland, and it's actually discontinued.
Oh
But
damn.
I grew up playing piano, like I was classically trained growing up, but I was never really a classical pianist because I didn't growing up have it in me to practice like 7 hours a day like they wanted you to do. So I became
Mhm.
decent at piano, but not like a virtuoso. But
Hmm.
when I was in high school and college, I started playing a lot more synthesizer. And then I was searching online one day, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the website Sweetwater, but it's
Yeah, of
like
Yeah.
course. Yeah, of course.
on of musical instruments. And I saw that they were about to discontinue this model from Roland, this keytar model. It was normally about like $800, but it was 75% off because they were about to
Wow.
Jeez.
discontinue it. So I'm like, I got to
Yeah.
get on this. And then it came and I started playing it and I'm like, you know what? I think this is going to be my gimmick, my shtick. Oh, that's the
Yeah.
word shtick,
Yeah.
what we were talking about before.
Huh.
And so that's just how it started. And I figured, I want to have something that might distinguish me from the other singer, songwriter, producer
Hmm.
people out there. not too many other people are playing keytar, so I figured.
Yeah. I I mean, because I think that's how like I like because this guy's always busting my busting me about kind of like finding new people and stuff like that. So I think I messaged you like a few months ago, and I think I saw one of your videos with you playing the keytar. So I was like, oh, this guy's pretty interesting. Let me just message him and see what happens. So like, yeah,
Well, thank you so much for reaching out.
yeah.
And
Thank you for coming on.
of course.
Yeah,
And I
let
see
me.
we also follow each other on TikTok. I saw you had a viral video of someone moving around a mattress.
Oh yeah, that whole thing. That's
I'm still banking on it. I'm just like, now what? It's just like we're just a one hit wonder on TikTok.
yeah.
But like interestingly enough, like that's something I wanted to talk to you about. Like, what do you think musicians should be posting on TikTok? Because you're pretty active on it.
Yeah, I've recently gotten very active on TikTok because I found out that the only way to grow at this point is to post often.
That's what
And
people say. Yeah.
sort of, you could have a niche, which is, my niche has sort of been keytar covers, but I haven't been doing it that much because I'm trying to build my audience up more first, trying to hop on some of these trends. And a lot
Gotcha,
of
more
times
topical.
hopping on these trends and seeing what's currently popular in the now is how you build your initial audience. And then once you have them come in, that's when you could start being a bit more niche. And
Mhm.
some content creators would argue the opposite, that you have to start more niche and eventually you could expand out. But I think it could go either way. What I'm doing is I'm just laying the groundwork with general posting, memes, shit posting. I'm allowed to curse on this podcast,
Oh
right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Do your thing.
Shit posting. Okay. So yeah, I post every day, oftentimes twice a day, just
Mhm.
because I'll be scrolling in on my For You page and I'll see like, oh, this person's doing something pretty cool. That's a trend. I might as well put my own spin on it. So I've been posting a lot. And if you want to grow yours, keep posting and things will pick up. It
Yeah.
might
I
not.
So
think
how do you
I
find
think
the?
something else that's pretty interesting about what you do is like you actually go and comment on all the comments that are like on your posts
Oh,
or
yeah.
reach back out on them.
Yeah. No, it's definitely good for your engagement to reply to a lot of comments you get the conversation going. And it'll eventually, I think, help the algorithm a lot. Like people will go back to the video when they see your comment reply and they'll see,
Mhm.
oh, yeah.
Nice, because like, yeah, because how do you find? Because I also do music, and I'm also in the midst of like kind of like recording an album and everything. And like David's been telling me for like a while now to get on to get on like TikTok. But like, how do you find the content to like post every single day? Because that's the thing that's the most daunting for me. Like,
Oh yeah. At first it was really like I first got TikTok actually in March of 2020. Like as soon
Makes
as
sense.
everybody went into quarantine, everybody was like, "Hey, let's hop on the next thing," which is TikTok. And I'll be honest, I'm a little older than most TikTokers out there.
I'm
Most
25. You're already past the peak, past
yeah,
the point of becoming a superstar. Yeah.
it's tough to be old on TikTok. No, actually,
Yeah.
there's all ages on TikTok, but it's usually dominated by like strictly Gen Z. So like
Mhm.
people currently in high school and college. But finding the content is really easy because the second you open up the app, it appears on the For You page and you just keep scrolling and scrolling. And there's an endless amount of content and an endless amount of ideas. I also check the Explore page every day, which shows what's currently trending. There's trending sounds every day, there's trending hashtags. Some of the trends are very timely, such as on Christmas, it was a Christmas trend. On New Year's, it was a New Year's trend. I think today's trend was I think it was hashtag clean talk. People were talking about like how they go about cleaning their house or something. Don't really have anything to do with that.
Wait,
Can't
so
relate.
like, so like, do you? Because like, I haven't seen your TikTok, but like, do you just engage in kind of like specifically non-music related kind of like trends or like, um,
I do a little
uh,
bit of so when I first got TikTok, I thought that the only way to go popular was to make some of these dance videos. So I tried that and it was incredibly embarrassing. And then
yeah,
I learned more about the ins and outs that you could repackage and repurpose sounds to your own liking. The one I made today was this robotic kind of voice that for some reason this is all over my For You page today, but there's this guy saying like, damn, I've been banned from Dave and Buster's. And exactly know what it's about, but I saw some of the videos and basically they were making memes like, when you're 5 years old and your parents won't let you have seconds on dessert. Damn, I've been Dave and Buster's. So I just went right on the nose and I was in bed when I made the TikTok and I was just like, when you have a nightmare that you're banned from David Buster's, and then it's just like, damn, I've been banned from David Buster's.
Have you done the ice check yet thing or no? Like the diamond testers thing?
No, I actually don't. I
That
haven't
shit's
heard about
What's
that.
that?
funny. So like you've seen like the videos of like people who like they go around like on Facebook, just like some dude with a diamond tester going around the mall checking to see like the diamonds are real or whatever.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I've never seen that before. No.
Well, anyways, on TikTok there were some dudes who just wanted to, I guess, like show their followers that their diamonds were real. So
Mhm.
they would diamond test themselves, right?
Oh.
Like, oh shit, look, my diamonds are real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then somebody was just like, hey, listen, like it makes no sense. Like you just fucking fake it. So like it's just like a meme of that.
Wow.
Yo, TikTok is a completely. I don't know,
And
man.
the
I
weird
don't-
thing is like everyone's completely like in a separate pool just because like how good the algorithm is.
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
your
totally.
feed is like for you. Like it's to a T, like exactly your humor.
I mean,
Kinda
that's
scary.
the price of like selling your data to TikTok or like rendering your data over to TikTok. But yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how people find fans. That's how
Yeah,
this guy's been
yeah.
doing so good, right?
Yeah.
trying. I mean, with TikTok, they track, of course, your activity, your likes, not even just your likes, but like which videos you're more likely to watch into the end, what you like, what you comment on. And there was a period where the only people on my For You page, and I think this is everybody's For You page at the beginning, the only people on my For You page were like the super huge influencers like Charlie D'Amelio and artists like that. I don't know if I call her an artist, but she's this influencer and she's the biggest star on TikTok. And that was the first video I saw, and then you could go down that rabbit hole where you click on videos like that, and then the only people who appear on your For You page are these like ridiculously attractive, rich, young content creators who are big mainly because they look good.
Mhm.
TikTok
Yeah.
actually was under some fire a few months ago for censoring people who weren't super attractive.
Wow.
But I was able to customize my For You page by seeking out a lot of fellow musicians and liking their posts, and now pretty much everything on my For You page is just like music related. Music and
Nice.
my two
Nice.
favorite things in this world.
Nice.
Like,
Nice.
how did your sound is like kind of like it's different from what I've heard. It's like theatrical, but also like retro. Like, how did you get to that sort of sound? Like, what was the journey to get to there?
I loved classic rock growing up. Like the main station I would listen to would be like 104.3, which is New York's classic rock station. And I just became really influenced by those huge bands at the time, 70s and 80s, like Led Zeppelin and Queen and groups like that. And then the farther down the rabbit hole of that I started getting into a lot of these 80s new wave groups like Talking Heads and groups like that. And just I wanted to combine all of that together. I was also in the drama club growing up in high school.
Oh,
So I
nice.
was into musical theater for a while. And as I said, I was originally classically trained on piano. And I just wanted to not narrow myself down to just one style, but find a way to combine it all together. So nothing
Nice.
left out. So as
Nice.
one of my singles I've been releasing is pretty different than the last.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sort of what I do, and I don't try to put a genre on it.
Yeah, because like I was like telling, because the first time I listened to your music, I was telling David that you sound very similar to like Ninja Sex Party, if you know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't heard too much of his stuff, but it's
yeah,
very interesting when I make my music who I get compared to, because oftentimes
yeah.
I'm surprised. Like I'm producing a new track right now and I sent it to the co-producer who's helping me with it. And he's like, "Oh, this is so Oingo Boingo." I know who they are, but I haven't done much listening to them. And that wasn't my intent at all, but I'll take it as a compliment because
Yeah,
I found out it's Danny Elfman, who I'm a huge fan of. And
nice.
if that's who I remind you of, then that's great.
Yeah, no, you should definitely check out Ninja Sex Party if you haven't like listened to like too much of his stuff. It's really because it's in that same modern retro 80s new wave
It's
rock
just
thing.
you. If Weird Al Yankovic would make songs in your style,
Yeah, basically, legitimately that.
I think Weird Al is amazing. He's a genius.
No,
In
definitely
fact,
so.
a couple of originals out there, not just parodies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're still parodying like the style of the artist he might be parodying, but it's not like
Mhm.
directly parodying one of their sounds. I don't
Yeah.
know his track "Dare to Be Stupid." It's from the '80s, and it's an original of his, which pokes fun at the band Devo. They did that song "Whip It."
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't think it actually parodies any of their songs. It just parodies their style
The
overall.
style, yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, cuz like how did you so like speaking more about your genre or style or stylistic choices, like why did you like how did you fall in love with like the guitar and specifically kind of like that retro new wave, vibes?
Yes, so I'm one of those people who is sort of caught in between generations in a way. I'm a late millennial. I was, born in the early-ish, mid-ish '90s, which is
Mhm.
like the tail end of millennials. And so a lot of the media I was exposed to growing up was more Gen Z oriented, I guess you could say. But I,
Caillou.
growing up, yeah, that kind of stuff. But I, growing up, sought out media that was much more like boomer and Gen X
Wow,
oriented.
so you were like a hipster before it was cool. That's like hipster to the second power.
Like
Hipster squared.
Hipster squared.
it's like one of the first concerts I ever watched, not like saw in person, but watched online, was I bought a DVD of Queen, who I'd say is one of my all-time favorite bands, playing at Wembley Stadium in 1986, which is way before I was born. And that was music that like dominated like the boomer era, and I just like fell in love with it. And then from there, I just became so immersed in like all things '70s and '80s. Like when I was 13, I grew out my hair really long because I saw all the classic rock bands had long hair, and I was like, oh,
Wow.
I want long hair. So I was like for a while the only dude in my middle school with long hair. And then I got to high school and had to cut it for a stage production. But yeah, so I was really into music and things like that from well before I was born growing up, but also being presented with things that were targeted towards my age group and also people a lot younger than me. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
sort
yeah.
of caught in between.
Yeah. So speaking of that, yeah, because I wanted to ask, because you said in your bio that that your music kind of like incorporates from nostalgic cartoons, movies, video games, and animation loops. So like, what are some of the cartoons, anime, music, whatever that really inspired you and that kind of like influences you to this day?
Totally. So I probably watched way too much TV growing up. I wasn't much of an athlete. I didn't play outside too much after school. I really just a lot of the time sat at home and watched cartoons. And I grew up with, I'd say, the golden era of Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network.
Yeah, definitely.
Shows like that definitely influenced, I'd say, my style a lot. And there was a while where I don't know if you guys are familiar with Toonami,
Yeah, of
but
Yeah, of
course. Yeah.
course.
it was a obviously a anime focused cartoon block on Cartoon Network. And when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z.
Hmm.
One of the things that I think separated Dragon Ball Z from the rest of the shows I watched was the music, and I was very
Yeah.
intrigued by the music. And so I definitely say that anime soundtracks like those have influenced my style a lot.
Exactly the same. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because definitely just like because like the reason why I got interested in like the Japanese music industry or Japanese music is because from a harmonic and obviously melodic point of view, there's a lot of like more interesting things or more things that we're not used to in kind of like America, the West and stuff like that. So I definitely understand you being like drawn into that sort of like genre.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and definitely even like some Western cartoons had their own very distinct soundtracks, which I tried to emulate. Like you hear the Rugrats soundtrack and you immediately
Yeah.
Hmm.
hear the Hey Arnold soundtrack, you immediately know it's Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Definitely inspired me a lot growing up.
Yeah. What are some of your so like what is like kind of like some of your like all-time favorite cartoons or like pieces of media?
SpongeBob, actually.
Oh man, yeah, the
Oh,
classic.
100%.
I was just singing the Texas. Oh no, like a set, like the. Oh, I don't. I forgot the official name, but like I want to go home. I was like singing that earlier for some reason, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved SpongeBob growing up. Not so much into their newer stuff. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are, but SpongeBob, Hey Arnold, as I said, on Cartoon Network, there was like Ed and Eddie.
Oh yeah, the classic.
I would watch all that stuff religiously.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was in high school and procrastinating from doing my homework, I found out that someone had uploaded a lot of those old episodes to YouTube. So I was rewatching them.
Hmm.
Yeah, while I could have been, I mean, I was a decent student, but I wasn't like super straight A's or anything like that. I
Hmm.
probably could have been if I hadn't spent so much time watching these reruns of cartoons. But it shaped a lot of my music now, so
Yeah.
it's a total loss.
Like, I feel like a lot of artists have this sort of like obstacle, but maybe even more so like when it's a genre that sort of not many people are used to. Like, how do you grow an audience to listen to your music?
Well, it's tough, I gotta say, because in the age of streaming, people gravitate towards sort of what they already like. So if you're really into indie pop, you're gonna mostly just go to the indie pop playlists and
Yeah.
what new artists or artists you already know are on there. And if you're into rap, obviously it's if you're very niche at the beginning in music, it is a bit easier to get that initial audience. If you're sort of in between genres like I do, it's a bit more difficult. But a lot of times it's just putting yourself out there on social media and also word of mouth and just hoping for the best and never giving up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was looking at your page, your website, and like you've been on a couple press spots from what it looks like. Like, how
Yeah.
do you like how would you recommend like artists get something like this too?
There's a couple of different ways you could go about it. So in the past, I've worked with a couple of publicists, which are definitely a good investment if you have the money, but it can be kind of expensive.
Mhm.
The reason to hire a publicist is to sort of open doors for you and get you to skip a couple of steps because you know that if you work with them, they already have a potential relationship to this publication rather than you blindly emailing them yourself. But of course, if you have a good enough pitch and you have a good enough song, it's very easy to get the hold of an email for someone who writes for some of these publications and get them to write about you.
Nice. So like, how did you? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say there's also a website called Submit Hub, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't always recommend. It's maybe good at the beginning if you're just trying to get yourself out there, but it's basically a crapshoot
Yeah.
because you can submit to publications at the click of a button, but because they're so overwhelmed with submissions, they usually only take like maybe 1% of all submissions that come in.
I mean, like, how do you know like a publicist isn't just scamming you?
That's the other thing too, is you really have to do your research. You have to do the review. You have to see if there's any reviews online. You have
Mhm.
to, good publicists or good PR companies will list their clients or artists they've worked with on their website. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out to one of those artists, being like, hey, I saw you worked with this publication. I'm thinking about working with them. And what was your experience like? And do you have any recommendations?
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was gonna ask, like, yeah, because how does one even find like a publicist? Because like, but you definitely answered my question already. So yeah.
Is that where you attribute your growth in 2024? Like, because I was looking at your 2019 rep, then your 2020, it looks like basically doubled.
Yeah, it's just a lot of putting myself out there. And I wasn't working with a publicist this year. I was doing a lot of it just on my own. But I was trying to build some relationships with journalists. And from the past, when I was working with some PR companies, I tried to reopen those doors where I had already gotten a feature and be like, hey, remember me? You featured me in 2017. Would you be interested in checking out this new track I have? So definitely, it's definitely important to make friends with
Yeah.
people.
No, for sure.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think right now might be a good time to just sort of like plug in some
Actually
of this
listen to
music.
yeah
Yeah.
to like actually plug in some of your music. So like, what single or like what song of yours do you want everybody to listen to?
So my latest track is called My Disconnection, released in the past October. Features a rap verse from a good friend of mine named Siege Spitfire, who I met taking a summer class at NYU.
Nice.
And so that's my latest single, and I definitely recommend spinning that when you get the chance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I think we actually we spotlighted that on our news thing too.
Right, I remember, and I
Yeah.
appreciate appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Play it.
Boop.
It's in the fine print, splitting hairs to credit a case. But I'm about the about face. Swing to my side to see what I mean. It can't be unseen. What is the next step? I cannot find it. Now I'm the stranger again. This is my disconnection. It makes me disconnected. I try to fight it, but it comes up from behind.
Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of Sounds Like NYC. We just finished listening to Fayer's latest single, and
What's it called?
I have no idea. I forgot already. I'm sorry.
It's called My Disconnection.
My Disconnection. So, do you want to tell us more about the single, like where your head was when you're writing it, the production side of things, like a 360
If you could write a book.
explanation? Yeah, if you could write a book
on
just
this
about
song.
that, yeah.
I don't know if we'll have full book, but I could tell you about how the song came about. I
Mhm.
first started writing it the year I graduated college because I was fresh out of college and I went to school in the middle of nowhere. So I had no idea how sort of like the real world worked. And I got a job in retail and I kind of hated it. And I just felt disconnected from like the world around me and sort of alienated from my work. And that's when I started writing My Disconnection. And I had the idea for the melody in my head for a while, but I had never put words to it until the song finally got written. And then when it was completed, I thought, this just isn't enough. I need someone featured on it. I need like some rapper to break it down. So when I went to that NYU program, I became friendly with this guy, CJ, aka Siege, and he put his verse on it, and that's how it happened. And I think the song wouldn't be the same without the feature. I think that
Yeah.
picks it up.
Nice.
How important do you think collaborating is for musicians?
Very important, especially at the beginning. The friends that you make at the beginning are the ones that can carry you through your whole journey and career. And collaboration at the beginning is definitely, there's something to be said about someone who does everything entirely on their own. For a while, I was doing most of my stuff on my own, but lately I've been doing a lot more collaborating. And it's just, I think that it's just so much more rewarding when you have like success that you could share with someone else rather than just by yourself. So I've been, for my upcoming singles, trying to make it more about like a collaborative process. This new single I'm going to be putting out, don't have a release date for it yet, but I'm co-producing it with someone I met through a So Far show. So that should be
Nice.
cool.
Yeah. So,
I work for, well, it's not a thing right now because of the pandemic, but I work for
Yeah.
So Far Sounds as an audio engineer.
Oh, no way.
nice.
I'm able to meet so many great musicians through that. Some of
Yeah.
my favorite musicians I know now, I've met through
Mhm.
So Far.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I remember like back in March, April, I emailed somebody over there like, hey, would it be cool if you just post us on your Facebook page or something to, have some artists on? Got a couple of them on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Shelly was from So Far.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think Amanda was too.
Yeah. Do you know? Did you ever produce for her or like do any of her shows? Shelly Thomas.
Shelly Thomas. Yeah, I do
Oh,
know.
cool.
I also, before the pandemic, was working sound for a venue in Brooklyn called Pete's Candy Store, which you guys
Nice.
are probably familiar with. And basically, at one point, my boss said to me, "We're a little short on finding some good bands. Would you like to book, once a month, once a Saturday?"
Nepotism. Here we go.
Listen,
No,
that's the way you gotta do it.
Yeah.
I didn't book myself, surprisingly
Oh,
enough.
come on, bro.
I did find a lot of great musicians to play through reaching out through a Facebook group, and
Oh,
Billy was the first person to write to me saying, "Hey, I'd love to play."
nice.
So then I met her, and that's how it happened. And also, she performed at another function I was a part of called the Sound Shop. Not sure if you're familiar
No,
with that.
never. No.
Another New York City style showcase and discussion panel kind of thing.
Wow.
One of my friends runs it, and it's almost like So Far, but the difference is that in addition to performances, there's also like discussion and Q&A.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Yeah.
Billy was a part of one of the Sound Shop events as well.
Nice.
Again.
Yeah, you should definitely, send us some of your peeps after so that we can like
So
interview
we could
them
have
too.
nepotism too.
Oh, of course. That's what it's all about. Is
Yeah. Music is all about that. Yeah, continue. Sorry about our stupid jokes.
I love it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think like Stallion Dunkeys was also in So Far. I'm not sure if you ever did anything with him.
Tall dude, no mustache.
No, I've worked a lot of shows, met a lot of artists, but he's not one of them.
Oh, okay,
Gotcha.
okay. No, but he's super talented dude as well. Yeah, I think you guys would gel well,
Seriously.
musically. But
Be
yeah, so
interesting.
yeah, but yeah, so like, oh, so like you were like talking about how you have like a couple of singles coming up and stuff like that. Like, what is kind of like a timeline or kind of like a plan that you have if you do have any for this year, considering things don't get worse.
I mean, it is hard to say because the music industry is going on, but it's going on through the new normal. So there's no shows, there's no, like big concerts or anything like that. They're still having award shows like the Grammys, and they're still having the Super Bowl halftime show, which The Weeknd is performing at. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Not the same without the crowds. And so I'm learning to adapt to the new normal. And right now, I think it's really about hunkering down in the studio and trying to come up with the best music I can. So I do most of my production in my room, and I'm just writing a lot, producing a lot. I'm hoping to have my next release out in the next month or month and a half. And then generally, as an indie musician, it's a good idea to release music every, I'd say, 3 to 4 months,
Mhm.
because that gives people just enough time to start to miss you, but not long enough so that they forget about you.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some people would even argue and say at the beginning, release every month or every month and a half.
Mhm.
Really want to lay the groundwork. That's why at the beginning, I didn't put out a single. I put out a full album just because I had all these songs that I just wanted out there. So I put it out, and that laid the groundwork for what I do now.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I got a sort of interesting question, right? Like, let's say, for whatever reason, you were just never able to play live again. Would you still be a musician?
I would say so, yes, because I've gone about a year without doing a show. Like even before the pandemic, I was actually taking a little break from live to do some more recording and focus a bit more on my producing and engineering of other artists. But if there was no live again, it would be very, very upsetting. But if that had to be the case, I'm doing a lot of live streams. I'm doing a lot of posting on TikTok. I think that's the next best thing, and that's what I'd continue to be doing. I'm even thinking about when my next single's released, there probably won't be concerts just yet, but I might do some sort of live stream tour where like for a week I go live but on different platforms. So like
Oh,
Monday
nice.
live, Tuesday Facebook Live, and then I go live on Twitch, and then I go live
And then
on
Friday, our
yeah,
our Instagram.
takeovers.
Yeah, oh, that'd be like interesting to do like takeovers or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
make an
Write that
OnlyFans.
down. Write that
Right.
down.
Oh yeah, sorry, continue.
Maybe make an OnlyFans as well. I don't know.
Hey, I mean, listen, you don't have to just make porn on OnlyFans, right? There's like
I mean-
chefs on OnlyFans. That just make,
There is.
I'm assuming I've never been on it, so I don't know, but it's just subscription-based content.
Yeah. So have that in the works, live stream tour.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like that's definitely because there's been like bands actually that have done a bit of like revival tours, but only online. Like they've taken this time, like bands that I know that have been apart for like a few years or stuff like that. And they decided, last year into this year to, perform to kind of like do like a comeback tour or like a reunion tour, but it's all just like, live stream sort of stuff. So yeah, this past year for musicians has been very kind of like interesting because like
You're forced to evolve.
yeah, definitely, because like what do you
Adapt.
think is the best option for somebody? Okay, so take example for me because I'm about to release my first debut EP album, whatever. So like what like advice or yeah, so like what advice would you have for somebody like me who's gonna try and break out this year?
Definitely, first of all, have your music as good as it possibly can be, because that's what the focus is. It's all about the songs. the songs are the key component. If you don't have good songs, then the rest might not follow so well. Definitely have good songs, have good photos taken of you for social media purposes. When you're submitting to blogs, often what they look for is good photos. Definitely possibly think of some visual content to go along with the songs, like music videos, lyric videos, live videos. And when I say live, maybe just like live from your bedroom, that could work too. Just create content and share it with your friends, and things will start to pick up. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I mean, cause like, yeah, I don't know, like this year, cause have you heard about any of? I would like definitely, cause through the news segments that we do, like for like a couple of times, I've kind of like reported about how like New York City is, starting to like do like programs, kind of like street performances and stuff like that. So like, I would definitely say that you should check out some of like I forgot what they're called specifically, the programs, but like the city specifically and like city government is definitely trying to like put put trying to revive the scene in the city. So I feel like in like a couple of months we're gonna see in some part a revival of kind of like live music. So I would definitely
Yeah,
tell
knock on
you
wood.
to get on that.
Oh, sure. I'm trying to put a set together as
Oh,
we speak, and just think about like what new songs I could play, what old songs I could play, just ways to make my set better than before, so that when live music does become a thing again, I'm boom, ready to go.
yeah. Well, if you need a guitarist, I'm definitely down to help out with that.
No,
Take him off my hands, please.
I'll definitely let you know if they're unable to make it.
Yeah. Also, well, like speaking of live music, like, yeah. So it's like, tell us about what your experience has been with with like performing your own music live in New York City. Like, have you ever traveled outside of New York City to like perform, or like, yeah, tell us about the kind of like the live aspect of your music.
So the summer after I released my debut album was summer 2017, and that's when I went on my first and currently only tour. But it was very interesting to put together this whole tour by myself and manage it, and see where I could take myself. So it was a Northeast tour, basically Boston through DC and all the cities in between, the Boss Wash corridor, as they call it. And for a first tour, it was pretty good. But it would have been better if I hadn't gotten sick halfway through and had to
Damn.
cancel the past like 3 dates.
Damn.
Also, the day after the first show, I got a kidney stone. Couldn't perform that night. It was very painful. And other than that, the tour went pretty well.
Damn. I mean, all things considered, yeah. You
Maybe that was a sign. Maybe you're gonna get into a car crash or something. It's like, no.
Well, interestingly, the van that we rented wound up having a problem where we couldn't close the trunk because some sort of electrical issue prevented the trunk from being closed.
Really?
I called AAA and have them give me a bungee cord, and for the rest of the tour, the trunk was just bungeed shut.
Damn.
It was one of
That's-
the Murphy's Law kind of things where like anything that could go wrong went wrong.
Did it go wrong?
We know that a bit too well.
Yeah, that's insane. So like, okay, so besides kind of like the terrible things that can like go wrong and tour, like what does your typical, live show look like in terms of like, instrumentation, band wise, set wise, how you like interact with like the crowd? Give us like the 360.
Sure. So originally, when I started performing my original music, it was actually just acoustic, believe it or not. I started playing regularly around the city in like 2014, 2015, starting to do a lot of open mics. And at the beginning, it was just me and a guitar, or if the place had a piano or a keyboard, it was just me and a keyboard. Then the next year, I started incorporating a lot more electronics and backing tracks into my set. And then the following year, I thought, you know what, it would be cool if I got a band together. So got a drummer, got a guitarist, got a bassist, got a keyboardist, and then me playing keytar and singing on top of that, putting it all together. And for the past few shows I did before the pandemic, it was very rare for me to perform solo. I would play live with a band. And I think that having that full band energy definitely kicks up the set another level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the crowd feels it too, because I'm noticing that when I perform solo versus when I perform with a band, the crowd seems to be a lot more into when I play with a band.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's way more interesting seeing multiple people, up on stage rather than one. Most cases.
Sure. Unless
Yeah,
you're like doing EDM and then you're heavily reliant on like the visuals, because you can then just be one dude
yeah,
playing.
yeah. I
Or
mean,
like Ed
speaking of
Sheeran, just fucking
loop
looping.
everything, yeah. Yeah. I mean, have you tried? I mean, because like once you go back, or like once like touring or like performing in live becomes like a regular thing, what does will you try to incorporate more of like a visual aspect more than just like the standard having kind of like the venue do lights and stuff like that? Like what like say, I mean, this could be like even like from now, like another year like another year away, but like do you have any specific plans for how you want your live shows to like look?
Yeah, it's interesting you should mention is when I was playing live, I got a little bored of just standing on stage playing and it would just be the guys. So I have a friend who's a visual artist. He actually came up with some background projections for me. I have another friend who's sort of a hobbyist lighting designer. So whenever we would go to the venue, he would come along and I'm just like, I brought my own lighting guy. Can he work the board?
Wow.
Sure. And he was able to coordinate some cool light cues to my show.
Dude, that's so
Nice.
nice. Yeah, you already have the whole team together, the
Yeah, it pays to have
publicist,
friends.
lighting, and wow, yeah, yeah. It does pay to have friends. Yeah, eventually they'll pay off. And that's really cool that you
Eventually.
have everything like put together, and like even like kind of like the live aspect of like shows and stuff like that.
Some something that we like to ask all the artists that come on is like, how do you feel that New York City has changed you, like as an artist and as a person?
So, as I said, I grew up in the suburbs and I went to college in upstate New York in the middle of total nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting immersed in the New York City scene at the beginning was a bit of a shock because I had no idea just how many artists there were. It was incredibly competitive and incredibly oversaturated because every night back when shows were happening, there were hundreds of shows every night. It was very difficult to choose. And you just sort of have to find a way to be persistent and not get discouraged if things don't work out right away. You have to keep an open mind and make relationships with certain people and find your community. Being in New York, since it's such a big city, it can be difficult to have a sense of community because in the 8 million people that there are, probably at least 100, if not 500,000 of those 8 million are musicians or performers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people to choose from.
Yeah. I mean, but like you've definitely made a point, or like kind of like you definitely stand out, I feel like, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. So, I mean, is there like anything that you any like last like parting words or like words of advice that you want to leave the podcast off with?
Well, definitely check me out
Yeah,
on
of course.
places, the platforms, Facebook.
Where can people find you?
So on all my socials, I'm at Feyer Music, FEYERMUSIC, except for TikTok, because originally I was Feyer Music, and then because for a while I was doing a lot of non-music related content,
Mm-hmm.
it might be a little confusing. So my username on TikTok is at Feyer. I don't know. I got bored one day and changed it to that. I might change it back to Feyer Music, but for now it's Feyer. On YouTube, just as Feyer. I recently joined Clubhouse, which I know nothing about, but it seems like a cool.
I've never heard that before. What is it?
I still don't get it.
It's like Zoom, but like purely for audio, and like you can join these rooms.
Okay.
People are just having discussions.
Oh.
Just think like AM radio.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Sort of Discord, actually, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm close to Discord. Interesting.
It's all audio.
Ooh.
And any other parting words? Just I'm gonna come at you with some new music, hopefully in the not too distant future.
Nice.
And anything you guys are gonna be up to?
What are we up to?
Yes,
Do we divulge all of our secrets, David?
Oh,
Do we have secrets?
Oh, if only we had secrets that we could divulge.
Nah, I mean,
None
Just
really.
like interviewing people. If you want, definitely send like artists our way because we definitely
Yeah, for
appreciate
sure. I
that.
mean, listen, like I said, we're a podcast dedicated to spotlighting New York City talent. So like
Yes.
anybody who, you know,
Yeah.
just reach out to us.
Do you interview also like music journalists and things like that? Because I have some friends
Yeah.
as well who might be
Yeah.
features for their blog or
Yo,
for
sure.
send them our way, bro.
yeah, totally.
Definitely awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks so much for coming on. I
no,
really
I
appreciate
want to. I want to end it off.
You
I want to end it off. Hey,
You are
so
so fucking annoying.
So, thank thanks
Thank you for
Faye.
watching Sounds Like NYC News.
So thank you, Faye, for coming on, and we're looking forward to what you do this year. And thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Sounds Like NYC News. Oh my god!
Thank you so much. I don't know. Do you want to do that part again?
No,
You should do it. You should redo it.
I should
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Sounds Like NYC.